What if the very quality they commend you for becomes the very restraint they fasten around your neck? They will urge you to be genuine, to be open, to openly display your emotions, so they can pinpoint precisely where to strike. They will applaud your honesty even as they sharpen their weapons. Feigning concern is not a sign of weakness. It is a shield, a tactic, because revealing your true indifference is not strength, it is vulnerability. The man who admits he doesn't care provides his adversaries with the exact tool they need, the moral high ground. This they will wield against him with fervent righteousness. So, let's dismantle the contemporary illusion. They instruct you to be authentic, to divulge everything, to validate your virtue by confessing your disinterest, your detachment, your calculated aloofness. They portray this as strength. It is not. It's raw meat tossed to wolves who seek a moral pretext. If you declare your disregard for their concerns, they will unite and cast you as the villain. Even when your mind is 10 moves ahead, your expression must convey compassion. Even when you perceive the game for what it is, you must execute your role flawlessly. Niccolò Machiavelli wrote, "Men judge more by the eye than by the hand. For all men can see a thing, but few understand it." Grasp this. You will perpetually be judged by appearances, and appearances extend beyond attire and titles. They are emotional signals. If you seek power, you must master these signals. Feigning concern is not deception in its crude sense. It is survival in a world that penalizes truth. It does not wish to hear it. It is the art of guiding people who demand to be lied to while simultaneously asserting a desire for honesty. Imagine a general traversing his camp before battle. He perceives fear in his soldiers' eyes. He experiences the same fear, yet he will never betray it. Instead, he speaks with calm reassurance, commends their bravery, and shares in their worry as if it were his own. He pretends to care about their individual anxieties, knowing that for him, the only pertinent truth is the battle plan. Without that performance, morale crumbles. Without that act, they would disperse before the bugles even sounded. Now consider your own conflicts, your career, your negotiations, your alliances. When someone expresses their anxieties, you might want to say, "I don't care." You believe that makes you strong. It does not. It makes you transparent, predictable, an easy adversary to rally against. The skilled tactician understands how to listen, how to nod, how to weave an empathy he may not genuinely feel, so that he remains the chosen leader even as he pursues his private objectives. He transforms their trust into momentum. He channels their fear into loyalty. He feigns compassion to maintain command. Modern culture would have you believe that feigning concern is a betrayal of self. But what is this self they wish you to expose? Your raw, unfiltered reactions, your disdain, your private scorn. They want you to shed your armor so they can destroy you with the truth you provided them, because truth is a gift. Once given, it cannot be reclaimed. Once revealed, it becomes a target for those who require your downfall to justify their mediocrity. Feigning concern is the art of withholding your truth while offering them the illusion of access. Observe your surroundings. Social media thrives on unvarnished honesty because it fuels the mob's appetite for blood. They praise authenticity right up until the moment it offends them. Then, they demand your head. The wise man understands this, and adapts. He cultivates an image of caring precisely to circumvent unnecessary conflicts. He knows that control is not about revealing who you are. It is about managing what they perceive. The true ruler of men is not the one who bears his soul, but the one who sculpts their perceptions. Ask yourself, who benefits from your honesty? Who profits from your confessions? In courtrooms, criminals quickly learn. Speak less. Say only what is essential. Even innocence can be distorted if the prosecutor is cunning enough. Why would you assume the world functions any differently? Feigning concern is not about abandoning your values. It is about safeguarding them behind a facade that disarms suspicion. It is the guard at the gate who smiles while his hand rests on the sword hilt, just out of sight. Consider the diplomat at a tense negotiation table. Every word is layered, every nod calculated. He pretends to care about his counterpart's fears, needs, and ambitions, even as he drafts the clause that will undermine their position. Without this performance, he possesses no leverage. Without this performance, he is dismissed as hostile, rigid, untrustworthy. The man incapable of feigning concern has no place at the table where true power is distributed. The world rewards the performance, not the confession. There's an old adage, applause is addiction. It's true, but so is condemnation. People require villains to rationalize their fears, their failures, their need for cohesion. If you openly and arrogantly refuse to care, you offer yourself as that villain. Feigning concern denies them that. Gifted muddies the waters. It keeps you in the ambiguous zone where accusation lacks bite. You are always the ally, even if only in appearance. And that is frequently sufficient to secure your position while you pursue goals they would never approve if you stated them outright. Machiavelli understood that governance is theater. He understood that people do not desire truth. They desire reassurance. They desire the sensation that their concerns are heard, their fears acknowledged, their hopes mirrored in their leader's eyes. To lead them, you must play that part. even if you don't feel it, especially if you don't. Because the moment you drop the mask and reveal your cold, indifferent calculations, they will brand you a monster. They will make you their rallying cry, and they will devour you so you believe it's honest to declare your indifference. They will applaud your candor right up until they grasp its implications for them. Then, they will turn on you with righteous fury, deeming you unfit, unworthy, inhuman. Because people don't desire honesty, they desire alignment. They want your mask to match theirs so they can trust you. And trust isn't built on truth. It's built on comfort, on shared illusions so skillfully crafted they forget to question them. The man who learns to feign concern controls that comfort. He becomes the architect of their security, the orchestrator of their trust. Consider how swiftly loyalty disintegrates when you expose your true indifference. Employees who perceive their boss doesn't care will abandon the mission. Friends who see you unmoved by their pain will drift away or conspire against you. Allies who sense your contempt will find reasons to betray you first. It is not weakness to conceal these things, it is prudence. It is recognizing that the human animal is not rational. It is emotional, and the emotional creature must be fed illusions that keep it docile, loyal, useful. Do you wish to rule, or do you wish to confess? The choice is that stark. Confession is an unburdening that feels good for you and empowers them. Pretending is a burden, yes, but it retains power with you, because once you've admitted you don't care, you cannot retract it. You have declared yourself separate. You have made yourself the enemy of their illusions. And illusions are the glue that binds. Alliances, societies, even families, shatter them at your peril. Imagine the solitary figure walking through a palace corridor, torchlight flickering against marble columns. He knows the schemer's anxieties. He knows their doubts, but when he encounters them, he warmly clasps their hands. He listens with patient gravity. He speaks the words they need to hear. He does not insult them with the truth of his indifference. He plays the role so convincingly they forget he might have entirely different plans of his own. This is not hypocrisy. This is statecraft. If you cannot manage that performance, you are unfit to lead. You will be consumed by those who can. Because even those who claim to desire blunt honesty do not truly want it. They desire the power that arises from your honesty while they remain concealed. They want you disarmed so they can strike. They want your unguarded truth so they can construct the moral narrative that destroys you. Meanwhile, they will meticulously hide their own motives behind caring words and concerned expressions. Machiavelli asserted, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The word broken is a necessity of the present." Your caring words are a necessity of the present. They keep you at the table. They buy you time. They buy you trust. You can later utilize as you choose, even if you intend to betray them, even if you plan to completely outmaneuver them. You need them to believe in you for now, and belief is built on signals of shared feeling, not on declarations of emotional independence. Observe modern politics. Observe negotiations between nations, between corporations. Publicly, leaders speak of shared values, common goals, mutual respect. Privately, they maneuver for advantage, sabotage each other, formulate sanctions and war plans. Why maintain the mask? Because the mask is leveraged. Because the performance prevents open conflict until you are prepared. Because feigning concern keeps lines of communication open, keeps the opposition off balance, keeps the public placated and unaware. Ask yourself this: would you prefer your opponent to show you he doesn't care, or would you prefer him to pretend? The honest enemy unites you against him. The one who pretends fractures your camp with confusion. This is why you must do the same. The man who feigns concern disrupts his enemy's certainty. They cannot effectively rally against him because that provides them with no clear moral line to attack. He becomes the acceptable partner even as he shapes outcomes in his favor. Your silence is powerful. Your performance is even more powerful. Do not be so naive as to believe these are weaknesses. They are weapons. And if you refuse to wield them, you will leave them to be used against you. The modern world is not softer than the past. It is more polished, more theatrical. It demands more of your performance, not less. So, meticulously rehearse your lines. Smile as you plan. Nod as you decide. Express concern even as you calculate, because the alternative is exposure, and exposed men do not endure long in positions of power. You see, most people desire safety more than truth. They desire the illusion that you are on their side, the appearance of solidarity, the hint of empathy they can cling to. Give them that. It costs you nothing but the discipline to hold your tongue and compose your face, and it buys you everything: trust, access, forgiveness when you falter, time to maneuver when you need it most. The man incapable of feigning concern will always lose to the man who can. They will test you. They will provoke you. They will seek out vulnerabilities in your mask. The moment you falter and reveal your true indifference, they will seize upon it like starving dogs on meat. They will accuse you of betrayal, of coldness, of being inhuman. Never mind that they experience the same coldness themselves but are too afraid to display it. This is society's unspoken contract. We lie to each other so we can coexist. We pretend to care so the machine operates smoothly. Break that contract openly, and you will be cast out as a danger to the tribe. Even the family expects it. The friend who seeks your advice does not desire your truth. He desires your validation. The partner who confides their fears wants you to echo them, not dissect them. The colleague who vents about the boss wants you to concur, not reveal your apathy. These performances uphold relationships. You can view them as deceptions, or you can view them as the cost of admission to power, the price you pay to exert influence over hearts you might otherwise dismiss. Imagine the lion in the tall grass, silent, watching, patient. He does not roar his intentions. He does not announce his indifference to the antelope's suffering. He simply acts when the moment is opportune. The performance of caring is your grass, it is your camouflage. It is the gentle rustle of empathy that puts your prey at ease. They will graze closer, whisper confidences, lower their guard. And then, only then, do you strike with precision. Without the pretense, there is only a stampede of fear and resistance. Machiavelli taught that rulers must appear merciful, faithful, humane, honest, religious, even when necessity dictates the opposite. Because the people require those illusions. They require the reassurance that their leader shares their values, even if he privately manipulates them for the state's survival. The wise prince does not spit contempt in the face of the masses. He offers them the comfort of familiar virtues, wears them like a cloak even as he sharpens his blade beneath. Modern life is no different. Your company's brand speaks of sustainability while pressing suppliers to the brink. Your politicians proclaim unity while fueling division behind closed doors. Your influencers sell authenticity while rehearsing every breath. And the masses, rewarded, they desire the performance because it provides them with something to believe in. The man who refuses to perform is perceived as unstable, dangerous, unfit to lead. They will dismantle him for the crime of rejecting the shared illusion. You might argue, but I want to be real. Understand, real is a luxury you cannot afford if you desire power. Real is for your private journal, for the dead of night when no one is watching. In public, in negotiations, in leadership, you must be what they need you to be. That is the price of influence. If you cannot pay it, you will perpetually be governed by those who can. You will always be at the mercy of performers more disciplined. Then you consider negotiations once more. The skilled operator listens intently, nods sympathetically, reflects emotions back like a mirror. He does not debate feelings, he does not correct fears. He pretends to care about what they care about. Why? Because people will do anything for those who seem to understand them. They will compromise, concede, even betray their own interests to preserve that bond. Meanwhile, the negotiator's true objective remains clear only to himself. Ask yourself, is this deception, or is it management? Is it treachery, or is it leadership? Because the man who refuses to do this does not transcend the game. He simply loses it. He becomes the honest fool everyone respects in words but removes from power at the first opportunity. The world does not reward your truth, it rewards your usefulness. And usefulness depends on your ability to manage appearances. There's a distinction between lying and feigning concern. Lying invents false facts. Feigning concern manages perceptions. It does not alter the reality of your goals. It alters the terrain on which you pursue them. It keeps opponents guessing. It keeps allies loyal. It keeps the masses calm while you maneuver. And that calm is worth more than any victory you could achieve through brute honesty. Remember this, transparency is a loss of control. When you reveal everything, you surrender the power to shape outcomes. You become dependent on their acceptance, their approval. But when you manage what they perceive, you remain the director of the play. You choose the timing of revelations, the framing of events, the emotional tone of every encounter. Feigning concern is the master key to this control. It is the gentle pressure on the steering wheel that guides entire societies without them ever realizing it. Machiavelli would have smiled at those who boast, "I don't care what anyone thinks," because they have confessed their impotence. Power relies on caring what they think just enough to guide them, to mold them, to use them. It depends on constructing the illusion that you are with them, for them, of them, even when you are not, especially when you are not. So, if you desire power, then learn to hold your tongue. Learn to nod at the appropriate moment. Learn the subtle art of letting them see in you what they need to see, because people do not follow truth, they follow comfort, they follow safety. They follow the man who appears to understand their fears. Even if he has no intention of resolving them, they will give everything to the one who mirrors their hopes back to them. This is not evil. This is the nature of rule. And what of those who cannot pretend? They are banished to the wilderness of the ignored. They are the bitter prophets, shouting truths no one desires to hear, dying alone with their honesty as their sole monument. The world does not thank them, it uses them as cautionary tales. Look, it says, at the man who spoke too plainly. See how we destroyed him. Learn from his failure. The lesson is clear. If you wish to be heard, if you wish to lead, you must speak their language. You must perform. Imagine the diplomat at the negotiation table once more. His opponent rages, threatens to depart. The diplomat leans forward, eyes steady, voice calm, acknowledging the anger. He says he understands, he sympathizes, he respects the frustration. Even if inwardly he despises the man, even if his strategy is to utterly break him, he wears the mask flawlessly. and in that performance, he gains time, he gains trust, he gains the opportunity to strike when the opponent's guard drops. If he were to scoff, to roll his eyes, to confess that he doesn't care, what then? The negotiation would end. The door would close. The enemy would prepare for war. Because admitting you don't care creates clarity, yes, but clarity is often the adversary of influence. Clarity provides them with a banner to rally against. Ambiguity, controlled, careful, strategic, is your shield, your camouflage, your method for shaping events before anyone realizes you've done it. Understand this deeply. The people you seek to influence need to believe you care. Even if you don't, especially if you don't, because if you openly admit your indifference, you force them to confront your difference from them, and difference is a threat. It triggers fear, it demands defense. Feigning concern bridges that gap, neutralizes the threat, transforms suspicion into alliance. This is why silence is so powerful, not empty silence, but the pregnant, meaningful pause that suggests you're listening, the slow nod, the lowered gaze, the small expressions of concern that say nothing concrete but speak volumes emotionally. These are not weaknesses, they are weapons. The man who cannot wield them is unarmed in a world where perception is reality. Machiavelli would tell you it is not enough to be, one must appear. This is not a call to become a liar without conviction. It is an instruction to understand that truth is insufficient, that raw truth is often poison, that people will not drink from the well if they know it holds bitter medicine, but they will drink eagerly if you sweeten the cup with understanding, with apparent empathy, with the performance of caring. You might say this feels manipulative. Good, it should, because you are seeking to lead people who do not wish to think too deeply, who do not want the burden of your cold clarity, who would rather be soothed. Your role is not to insult them with your disdain, but to manage them with your skill, to give them the story they need while you guide them where you must go. Consider the general once more. Before battle, he does not tell his troops, "I do not care if you die," even if, in the cold strategy of the campaign, their deaths are acceptable losses. No, he speaks to them of honor, of sacrifice, of shared glory. He pretends to care about their individual fears while keeping the larger plan in mind. Because if he did not, they would break and run. His army would dissolve. The battle would be lost before the first volley. Feigning concern is not about deceiving them for pleasure. It is about preserving the cohesion necessary to achieve victory. It is about maintaining the delicate web of loyalty and trust that allows you to move masses, command resources, outmaneuver enemies. It is about accepting the burden of performance so you can hold the power they would otherwise squander. Ask yourself what matters more to you, your private need to be real, or your public need to be effective, because the two are often at odds. The performer wins the crowd. The raw, unfiltered man becomes a sideshow. You must choose which you will be, and do not deceive yourself that you can have both. The history of power is littered with those who believed they could speak plainly and still command. They were mistaken. Machiavelli knew that humanity is governed not by truth but by perception, that the prince must learn to shape not only his actions but his image, that appearing to care, even when you do not, is the price of influence, and that the wise man pays it willingly, knowing the alternative is irrelevance at best and destruction at worst. Do you feel uncomfortable yet? Good discomfort is the initial crack in your armor of naivete. It means you are paying attention. It means you are realizing that this world does not reward moral purity, it rewards strategic performance. And if you refuse to learn the performance of caring, you will be used, discarded, forgotten. The world has no place for those who cannot manage appearances. Look around you. Every institution you respect is built on this. The priest who comforts the grieving family does not reveal his doubts about the afterlife. The judge who offers measured sympathy to the criminal knows full well the sentence is harsh. The therapist who nods and reflects feelings back may not share those feelings at all, but they all know this. The illusion of caring holds people together. It preserves order. It keeps chaos at bay. And if you wish to rule, then you must do the same. You must be willing to nod gravely at their fears, even if you find them childish. You must speak softly about their dreams, even if you know they will never achieve them. You must pretend to care about their outrage even when you perceive it as laughably predictable, because if you don't, they will turn on you. They will unite against you. They will make you the example of what not to be. Machiavelli wrote, "He who seeks to deceive will always find someone who will allow himself to be deceived." Understand the brilliance in that. People want to be deceived. They want your performance. They will grant you power if you can perform convincingly, but they will never forgive you if you refuse to perform at all. Because by refusing, you insult them. You expose their need for illusions. You humiliate them with your contempt. Imagine the boardroom, illuminated by cold fluorescent lights. The CEO stands at the head of the table, listening as department heads voice fears about the coming quarter. He knows many of them will be terminated. He knows the budget will be drastically cut, but he does not smirk. He does not shrug. He leans forward. He thanks them for their candor. He reassures them of their value. He pretends to care about every concern, and in doing so he keeps them calm. He maintains control. He prepares the way for his plan to unfold without revolt. Now, imagine if he said, "I don't care about your fears. You're all numbers on a spreadsheet. How long would they serve him? How long before they sabotage him, leak documents, poison the well? Honesty is not loyalty. Honesty is not power. Honesty unchecked is destruction. Ask yourself, when have you lost influence? Was it when you held your tongue, composed your face, maintained the performance? Or was it when you snapped, when you let your mask slip, when you told them you didn't care? Trace it back. You will discover the wreckage of relationships and alliances burned by your honest contempt. Learn from it. They don't want you to be authentic. They want you to be useful. And usefulness depends on their perception, on their comfort, on the small quiet lie that you share their worries, their hopes, their morality, even if you do not, especially if you do not. Silence, too, is part of this performance. The careful pause, the thoughtful nod, the measured words, these suggest listening even when you are planning. They disarm, they lull, they buy time. Silence is not indifference, it is weaponized attention. It tells them you care enough to wait, to reflect, to understand, even if you are doing nothing of the kind. This is not about cruelty. It is about the strategy. It is about giving them what they need so you can take what you want. It is about recognizing the brutal reality that people will not follow you if you show them you do not care. They will not obey you, vote for you, buy from you, love you, support you. They will crucify you as the monster who dared to speak his heartless truth. Machiavelli did not advocate cruelty for its own sake. He taught necessity. He taught that people are not angels, that their loyalty is conditional, that their love is transactional, and that the wise ruler learns to navigate this with skill, with discipline, with performance. He taught that mercy, honesty, generosity, these are tools when used well. Masks to be worn, weapons to be drawn, and that feigning concern is the least bloody of these tools. Do you wish to avoid betrayal? Then don't give them a reason. Don't let them see your indifference. Don't let them hear your scorn. Don't provoke their insecurity. Pretend to care, soothe them, guide them, make them believe you are one of them. Because once they believe that, they will forgive much. They will follow you into hell if you ask gently enough. And if you still resist this truth, ask yourself this. Who benefits if you refuse to perform? Who wins if you insist on your raw, unfiltered honesty? Not you, your enemies, your rivals. Those who will play the game you refuse to learn. They will command the crowd while you cling to your principles alone. They will rule while you rage about hypocrisy in your empty room. Do you want them to trust you? Then become what they need. Shape yourself to their fears, their hopes, their unspoken demands. The man who cannot bend cannot rule, because power is not brute force alone. It is the subtle art of alignment. You must make them see themselves in you. You must let them believe you are the guardian of their interests, the voice of their doubts, the mirror of their virtues. Even if it is all a careful construction, especially if it is, because once they believe, they will follow you. Anywhere they will excuse your failures. They will justify your betrayals. They will call your manipulation leadership. But if you strip away the illusion, if you reveal that you do not care, they will turn on you with the fury of the betrayed. The performance is not optional. It is the price of their loyalty. Look at history, at kings who ruled with cold indifference, and let it show. They did not last. Their reigns ended in revolt, in assassination, in disgrace. The wise ruler, the enduring ruler, learned to wear the mask. Learned to hold court with sympathy in his eyes even as he planned wars. Learned to comfort the grieving widow even as he levied new taxes. Learned to speak of justice even as he maneuvered for absolute power. Because ruling is not about truth, it is about belief, and belief must be carefully cultivated. It must be nurtured with words chosen precisely, silences held deliberately, gestures offered with perfect timing. Feigning concern is the fertilizer in which their loyalty grows. Neglect it, and their loyalty withers. Mock it, and they will burn you down. To install someone more pleasing in your place, Machiavelli would remind you that cruelty, when necessary, should be swift and concealed. But caring, or the appearance of it, must be constant and visible, because they will judge you by what they see, not what you are. And if they see a man who cares, they will forgive almost anything else. Consider the modern executive who must announce layoffs. He does not laugh, he does not shrug. He speaks slowly, solemnly. He thanks the workers for their service. He talks about difficult decisions. He pretends to care about the pain he causes. And they accept it. They may grumble, but they rarely revolt. The performance maintains order. Even those losing their jobs will tell each other, "He had no choice. He seemed so sorry." Imagine instead, he said, "I don't care. You're all numbers on a spreadsheet." Would anyone remain? Would they finish the project? Would they keep his secrets? No, they would leak everything. They would sabotage operations. They would ruin him because he made the mistake of telling them the truth. This is not an argument against honesty in principle. It is an argument for disciplined honesty, for selective honesty, for the wisdom to know what truth serves your goals and what truth destroys them. And the truth of your indifference rarely serves you. It is a poison best kept sealed. Ask yourself, do you desire the freedom to say anything or the power to do something? Because you rarely get both. The man who insists on always speaking his mind possesses the freedom of irrelevance. He can shout his truth into the void because no one is compelled to follow him. The man who wishes to lead must pay for that privilege with restraint, with performance, with the ability to make others feel seen, heard, understood, even when he is 3 steps ahead in his calculations. Do you consider this cynical? No, it is practical. It is merciful compared to the alternatives. Open indifference invites open conflict. Honest contempt creates enemies who will stop at nothing to destroy you. Feigning concern keeps them calm, keeps them divided, keeps them manageable. It is the art of ruling without unnecessary bloodshed. Machiavelli would say that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But he would also say if you can appear to be both, you have mastered the highest form of power. Because appearance is frequently sufficient. The fear keeps them cautious. The love, or at least the belief in your caring, keeps them loyal. Balance these, and you are unassailable. So, practice. Study your face in the mirror until it conveys concern on command. Learn the words that soothe, the pauses that suggest, understanding the tone that envelops them in security, not because you believe in the fiction, but because you believe in the result, because you understand that ruling is not the triumph of your truth, but the management of theirs, and finally, accept the loneliness of this path, because feigning concern is not for them alone, it is for you. It is the armor that safeguards your true self from their demands. It is the boundary that allows you to pursue your mission unimpeded. It is the price you pay to remain the architect of your fate rather than the victim of theirs. So tell me, are you ready to wear the mask, or will you confess your indifference and let them devour you for it? The choice is yours, and the consequences are very real. If you have remained with me this far, it is because a part of you already comprehends the truth of this path. A part of you is ready to bear the burden of leadership, the burden of perception, the burden of silence, because you know the world is not governed by those who shout their truth into the void, but by those who shape what others perceive. You know now that feigning concern is not a betrayal of self, it is the discipline of power. It is the price of influence. It is the silent contract you forge with those you would guide, that you will give them the comfort they crave, even as you lead them where they must go. So tell me, are you prepared to pay that price? Are you willing to hold your tongue when you wish to speak, to show concern when you feel nothing, to build loyalty not with truth but with the appearance of understanding? If you are, write "I choose the mask" in the comments. Let us see how many here are ready to embrace the uncomfortable art of power. And remember, keep watching, because the next lesson is even more dangerous than this one, and you will want to be prepared.